Real quickly, I'm meteorologist Jamey Singleton just before noon here on Friday, just updating you on what's going on outside. We've got flash flood watch in effect for all of the area, including south side where the rivers are still above flood stage. That's denoted by the brighter warning there, and this goes through the day on Saturday as well. So this is a long duration event, one that is not just going to be today, but it'll be tonight and it'll be part of the weekend as well. And we'll talk a little bit down the road maybe on what happens with Joaquin should it maybe near the area, and I'll show you one of the models that's indicating that that came in hot off the press about an hour ago. So you can see here in the brown, we've got, in addition to the flooding concerns, the wind. So far, Lynchburg and parts of Campbell County have gusts up to about 30 miles per hour in that area. And in North Carolina, just to our south, the winds are gusting upwards of 43 miles per hour. Near Winston-Salem, they've got lots of trees and power lines down there. Only a matter of time before that wind makes its way, makes its presence known and it's felt more over a wide area into Franklin County, Roanoke, and the rest of the area throughout the day. So we'll watch that very carefully as well. That's going to down trees and maybe power lines as well. So hopefully you've got your batteries and your devices all charged up and you're ready to go in that department, should that be the case. And again, we just want to prepare you for the possibilities of all this, as it's a very active weather pattern. Most of the rain, by and large, right along the coast, and that's honestly pretty much where we expect it right now. We're getting these heavier bands that are trying to kind of form underneath the rain because we've got a low-level jet that's cranking up at about 40 miles per hour. It's undercutting this, and it's producing more showery activity across the area. So it's not like a Tuesday situation yet where it rained really hard all morning. Most areas this morning picked up a half an inch or less of rain. But what will happen into the afternoon, and you can see that dry slot. There's no doubting there's some drying going on at this very moment. But what may happen later on into the day, and I'll show you the water vapor in a second, all this activity will reorganize itself. The whole orientation of it is going to shift back to the west. As the system itself starts to shift its orientation, it will take the water with it. And I'm talking about this upper low right here. So here it is, high pressure to the north, low down here to the south. The net flow is to take that moisture in off the Atlantic Ocean right into our area. Now this low right now is neutral tilt. That means it's pretty much right down the middle is where we're seeing the winds kind of curve around this thing. But as we go through time, it will take on what's called a negative tilt, and it will kind of like in your golfing, and it will stretch its wind out like this. And what that does is on the north side, that's the side that we're on, the wind separates so hard and so fast that new areas of heavy rain quickly develop and fill in. And that's when we think our winds are really going to start to increase, and that's where we think the flooding is going to be an issue. May not be today, maybe after sunset, might be overnight tonight before we get this heavier rain in here. One thing that could be a saving grace for our northern counties is the extent of this high pressure area. I was looking at that last night and thought, what if that high is so strong that it literally has so much dry air and pushes everything to the south? Just something to think about there. But I don't see that happening right now because we would have to get it to go another state south. And right now it's our area that's under the gun, and eventually the Carolinas. This will all pivot around, and I'll show you what I'm meaning here in a second. There's Joaquin, a very strong hurricane. The Bahamas getting slammed at the second bit of hard news to take with these situations that we've got this morning. We've had a foot of rain here, and we keep making comparisons to 1985, and it may or may not happen, but the chance is there. The conditions leading up to both events are very, very similar, and so we're not saying it's going to happen. We're just saying it's very similar, and we'll go from there. But here's the tropical system again, and the winds of Category 4 stature. That's a strong hurricane, very, very strong, almost as strong as you get them. Certainly we've seen stronger, but we don't want it to be stronger. But this is going to wait. And if you look at the wind right now, it almost looks like it's trying to connect with that flow around the low. Honestly, I'm looking at a big high up here to the north. It's physical. It's a physical mound of air that would deflect, I think, it from moving too far out the sea or too far up the coast. But, that's just my common sense talking. And well, my meteorology degree too, but I do think that we have to, I know what the models are saying, but not all of them are saying the same thing, and that tells me that we're right on the cusp of seeing this either not be a threat or continue to be a threat. In other words, you may see the models go back and forth over the next several days. So don't rule it out that Joaquin may make impact on our area Sunday into Monday. Do not rule that out at all. All right, here's the model forecast precip, and again, this takes into account Joaquin now, but you can see what happens across the area. We'll reload it here. This is today. Those right there are the heavier bands of rain that'll develop, and they quickly move off to the south, so that might be some good news, but this is an 84-hour loop too, so don't get your bearings here, but we do expect a lot in the way of more heavier rainfall today. And then this model has it picking up Joaquin and an abrupt turn into the Carolinas. So that is the second time, by the way. It had another update last night, did the same thing. This is just one computer model, but the Canadian model also did this overnight last night. And you can see why. You can see the energy here rotating in. That's Virginia. So we stay wet today from the coastal system, which is right there. And then as it reorients itself, it's almost like a spoon out here that comes and picks up Joaquin and gets involved in that. That would be a superstorm, by the way, by the end of the weekend. So some very dangerous and very, a lot to talk about with the weather when it gets this bad like this. So we're talking landslides possible. Should we start to get these heavy rain bands, it's going to start to flood pretty fast. Maybe something like Tuesday once we get to maybe 3 or 4 inches. And then once we go beyond 3 or 4 inches, once we get up to about 5 or 6 inches, if we keep getting rain, then it's, as I said on Facebook, it's game over at that point. But we hope we don't get there. But it certainly is possible the way it looks right now. But so far, I know the water vapor is a little drier. We've got a dry slot moving through. The rain's kind of breaking up in areas. So far, so good. But the wind is going to be an increase on the increase as we go into the day, and we're looking at the rain to re-arrive kind of in full force a little bit later on this evening. I'll have more updates throughout the day.